Time for football. Enid Plainsmen football with Steve and Steve.
Welcome to Plainsmen Football, the Coach's Show with Steve and Steve, along with Coach Steve Hayes. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Thank you once again for joining us this week. Last Friday evening was senior night, and it was a very difficult senior night, but it was week 9 and also involved district play as the Yukon Millers came to town to Selby Stadium. And Coach, when you have a quarterback that can really run the system, and this is my observation, you have a big fullback who can really run hard, and then you have a running back with tremendous amount of speed, and again, that quarterback that can work that system. That's going to be a challenge for anybody.
Yeah, I thought defensively we really did a pretty good job stopping the fullback and the quarterback. Boy, they hurt us on the perimeter, and he did a good job of getting the ball all the way to the pitch.
Tremendous amount of speed.
Yeah, and we even were making him pitch the ball after 2 steps. And so the ball was getting pitched before he got past the guard, and we still had a really, really difficult time making a play at the perimeter as far as and their speed had something to do with it. They out-leveraged us pretty quickly, and I think the speed of that offense, too, is pretty impressive. They do a good job of running it.
Well, before we talk more about the game, Coach, let's back up a little bit. Senior night. Tell us about senior night.
Senior night's a special night for those kids. They get to play their last home game on Selby Field. It's always the last home game of the year. They get introduced with their parents or guardian, which is neat. They all get an autographed Plainsman football that's autographed by all the seniors as a keepsake.
Okay, great.
And so we'll also recognize the cheerleaders and the pom girls and the managers and the trainers. And so everybody associated with the football season gets recognized that night who's a senior. And it's just a neat time of recognition. And really, for those kids, represents 4 years of hard work. Regardless of what your record is, those kids that have been in the program for 4 years have paid a huge price over a 4-year period, especially with football being year-round now with off-season. There's been a lot of weights lifted, a lot of sprints run, a lot of snaps and practice taken for those kids that are standing there. And really, really proud of our senior group and how hard they've worked the last 4 years.
And I imagine some of the players, the senior players, as they were with their parents, they were just kind of reminiscing and say, weren't we just in junior high? Wasn't I just a sophomore in high school? Quickly it goes.
It does.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the ball game. It seemed like, again, Yukon had really a lot of the ingredients of a quarterback really running the system and all the speed and all the things that we've talked about. But it just seemed like the Plainsmen were having difficulty on the offensive side to make a consistent drive to get things going.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we had too many. We had some really positive plays. You'll see some examples of them in the highlights. But we also had too many plays for negative yardage and things like that. It really didn't get in a rhythm in our passing game for a variety of reasons. It wasn't just the quarterback or just the receivers. It was sometimes a missed block by an offensive lineman, a drop ball by the receiver, and not a great pass by the quarterback. And so there was a contribution at every level, and just overall not a very efficient night offensively. I think Maddox did really well given the circumstances and competed well, and his decision-making was still pretty good, but we couldn't just quite get it together in a sustained way as far as finishing a drive and scoring a touchdown. Great example is we made it all the way down to their 8-yard line and then had a couple negative plays and couldn't capitalize, and then ended up getting the field goal blocked. And so just a tough night overall. Well,
Coach, just kind of show or tell our viewers on the personal side of things, when you're down, say, 21-0 or 28-0, you see it on the scoreboard, but as a coach, as a mentor, as a exhorter, encourager, what's going on with the coaching staff at that time with your players?
Yeah, and I think it kind of spills over from how much we've struggled the last month and a half to have success. And I think it really goes to the fact that at the end of the day, why do you play football? If you play football because you love the game and you love your teammates, you're grateful for another play. And so I think your motives really get exposed in those type of circumstances of why you're playing the game and whether or not you're unselfishly playing it and doing your best. And I think on video, when you watch kids play in those circumstances, you learn a lot about their character. And we have some kids that man, I'm just so proud of the fact that they don't give up. They continue to compete and give their best effort and continue to try to take care of their teammates. And I think you learn a lot about your teammates in those instances as well.
Again, thank you for joining us for the Coach's Show with Steve and Steve. We move into the segment now of looking at the highlights. Before we roll the tape, Coach, what are some of the highlights we're going to see? I know
Well,
we had some defensive stops.
Yeah, I mean,
that big 36 fullback was stopped a few times.
Sure. I mean, you're gonna get to see a little bit how to defend the wishbone offense and how that looks a little bit differently than maybe some of the other teams we've played. You're going to get to see Damien Rieman make a great catch on 4th down that got the ball down to the 8-yard line, gave us an opportunity for deepest penetration on the field that night, and some other good runs and some good plays by Maddox as well, and good blocking by the O-line. So just a good variety of times our kids did well.
Well, Coach, special thanks to your coaching staff to provide the highlights for us. So let's roll the tape right now, and Coach Hayes will provide us that play-by-play. Here
we're sending Will in motion, throwing a quick flare. You see a good block by Damien Rieman there on the perimeter that gets him up the field for a first down, and the perimeter blocking was key there. Here, this is Will running inside zone. We spread him out and took advantage of the fact they didn't have enough people in the box. Maddox made a great read. Really good blocking by the O-line. Here, a good job of throwing the ball out to Jaden Americut. He is so elusive and good in the open field, and made a great play. And here's Damien on the 4th down play, gets the ball down to the 8-yard line, makes a great catch sitting in the open area. Here, Maddox throws it out to Tyrone Hill on the pop play, makes a great catch and run after the catch. Maddox, good throw in a small window there. And here you see defensively, us doing a good job of stopping the fullback on the counter play. With nothing doing there. 5 kids there. Really look good defensively there. Here, once again, running the option. Do another good job of defending the fullback on the goal line. You see the O-line gets good push. We still make a play. Here, once again, good play defending the fullback on the triple option. Quarterback decides to hand it, and there's no yardage to be had. And like I said, I thought we did a really good job of containing both the fullback and quarterback for most of the night. Here's an example of when Damien does a good job of turning the sweep back inside, and we make a play here, prevent a gain, and
another example of speed on speed.
Yeah, and here, great job containing the quarterback by Arion, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago. Just thought interior-wise from center to tackle, we did really, really well. Where we really got hurt, and I think where they extended drives, was their ability to pitch the ball and us not get there in time. And I think speed was part of the issue, and angles of pursuit were part of the issue. And so it was a little bit of UConn and a little bit of us that caused that problem.
Well, thank you for sharing those highlights with us. And we're going to take this our first time out and let you be introduced to other members of Plainsman football. And then we're going to bring our student athlete of the week on set here in just a moment. So we'll be right back after this.
Nikki Chinoska, class of 2020, running back and free safety.
I'm Rodrigo, senior, play receiver, corner.
Kyler Bridenstine, class of 2019, O-line.
Blake Priest, class of 2021, quarterback.
Malachi Mona, class of 2021, D-line.
Abraham Rodriguez, tight end, senior.
Isaiah Mendenhall, linebacker, senior.
Welcome back to Plainsman Football. We certainly appreciate your time joining us each and every week as we provide Enid Plainsman Football right here in Oklahoma. And I say that because I know we have fans from all over the globe, Coach. So we have to share that because the video link gets sent around the globe, and we just appreciate you joining us each and every week. Okay, we move into our student athlete segment, and we have Damien Rieman with us. Damien's a junior and has number 13, and just so happened he was on a lot of the highlights, as you were saying.
He is every week.
Damien, welcome to the Enid Television Network studio and the Coach's Show, and Coach Hayes has a few questions for you, so thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We're really excited to have Damien on the show. We have a board in our locker room called the All-In board, and it's very hard to get on there. Matter of fact, I would say less than 40% of the team's actually on the board, and Damien was the first one to get his name, one of the first one to get his name up on the board because of his commitment to our football program and how hard he works and how trustworthy he is. Damien's actually a 2-year starter, started both ways last year as a sophomore and again this year as a junior, and will be part of our preview for the future this week and next week as we look at some players that we're going to be having come back. And Damien, it's great to have you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody what position you play and kind of what that position involves for you?
I play wide receiver and DB, and just wide receiver just mainly just catching the ball and blocking for runs, and corner is just guarding the guy that's going out for a route or coming up for a tackle. That's about it.
Yeah. Damien's developed quite a reputation as a very physical blocker on the perimeter as a receiver. A lot of people think of him as one of our top playmakers catching the ball, which he is, but he really is an outstanding perimeter blocker and somebody that our running backs, they like to really run to his side because they know they're going to have a good path.
Yeah.
They notice stuff like that, and I think it speaks a lot of Damien, how unselfish he is. It really doesn't matter what we're doing. He's going to give his best effort. Now, Damien, you shared what position you play. Talk to us a little bit about why you love to play the game of football and what it means to you.
Well, it's really just like my flesh and blood. I've always loved the game more than other sports, and just really got attached to me. And there's no other sport I'd rather play besides this one.
Yeah. What to you are some of your best memories of playing?
Just being around everybody and just being with the love and everything that they give me.
Yeah. Teammates are a pretty big deal in football. Now, you're going to be a senior next year. You're one of our more talented athletes and more accomplished athletes. Yeah. What to me are some of your plans for the off season as you prepare for your senior year and playing for us next year?
Just to gain weight and get a little more muscle on me. That's about it.
Yeah. What type of things do you plan on doing? Because a lot of people don't know how involved you are when football season ends. Talk to them a little bit about what the winter and spring look like for you.
It's probably just going to basketball and track and some stuff like that.
Yeah, so you play basketball, run track as well, and then also are in our strength and conditioning class in the morning. So Damien works just as hard in the off season as he does in season, in that he shows up and does his full off season workout, and then goes and plays basketball in the winter, and in the spring he's a jumper in track and does a great job there.
And as a coach, I can see why you enjoy that commitment.
Yeah.
That level of commitment.
I love the fact that he doesn't feel limited to just doing one thing. He's a multiple sport athlete and really benefits our schools and our teams because he's so unselfish with his gifts and talents. The great thing about that is when you do that, you end up getting a whole lot better as well, and you kind of benefit from it as well. Now, you still got 3 semesters left, but you know as well as I do it's going to go fast because it all does. Any ideas about what you want to do when you're finished with your senior year and you move on from high school?
I'll probably just go to college and, I don't know, probably play some college ball.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
What would be your dream come true at the end of your senior year as far as your opportunity? If you could go to any college and play anywhere, what would you do?
Probably go to probably somewhere in Texas. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Want to go play in Texas?
Yes, sir.
A&M or University of Texas or TCU or where?
Like A&M. I really like the school.
Or TCU?
Yes, sir. TCU. Yeah, I'd go there.
I just say that because that's where I graduated from. That's pretty awesome.
Where did Texas get in this equation? I'm just lost. I'm sorry. I missed something.
I know. I asked the question. Anyway. What's your favorite core value on our team? Which one means the most to you?
Love one another.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Besides the physical activity, Damien, and just the interaction, the physical interaction with all the ball players, what will you take away from your experience of playing high school football? There's the camaraderie and all the meetings together and all the running together and everything, but what do you think you'll take away from that? Is there just special memories or?
Mainly just all of it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
What do you think there's one lesson you've learned playing football that'll help you in life?
Yeah.
Just the discipline and just really showing hard work. It's how big or small it is. Always give your best.
Yeah. Damien's kind of unusual in that there's a lot of times you have kids in high school that are very talented, but they don't work as hard as they should. And then you have kids that are not quite as talented that have to work hard to be successful. And in Damien, you've really got that rare blend of a kid who's got a lot of athletic ability, but also has the work ethic of somebody who doesn't and wants to do well. And then I think that's one of the reasons he had so much in success the last 2 years. Very proud of him.
Yeah, and absolutely, because Damien, you are setting the bar. You are an example for many to say, well, if he does that, then I better get my act together and do the same.
For sure.
Damien Rieman is our student athlete for this week here on Plainsmen Football. We appreciate Damien being with us today. We're going to take another time out, and we need to meet some of the assistant coaches, learn a little bit about them, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk chalk talk. So we'll be right back. Thanks for joining us on the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve.
I'm Coach Dusty Quarles. I coach secondary. I went to the Northwestern Oklahoma State University, and the best advice I've ever been given is keep God first. And if you do so and have a relationship with Christ, then you'll never have to worry about whether or not you're adequate for today's journey.
I'm Kyle Young. I attended the University of Central Oklahoma. I coach linebackers and defensive coordinator. And the best advice I'd probably give or have received is when it comes to your morals or your faith, don't settle. Always stand on the rock and never falter no matter what's going around in your life.
My name is Kime Sears. I coach the defensive line for the Enid Plainsmen. I went to the University of Nebraska, and the best piece of advice that I've gotten is leaders lead from the front, not from the back.
I'm Kyle Davis. I attended the University of Oklahoma. I coach the offensive line, and the best piece of advice I've gotten is give it to God.
Welcome back to Plainsman Football. Thank you again for joining us today. We move into this segment, Chalk Talk. It's all about X's and O's. And, Coach, football is 24/7. It seems like it's 13 months out of the year. It's not 12, it's 13 months out of the year. So after a Friday night game, and now we got to turn around, you got a Thursday night game. You have about 5 minutes to just remember last week's game before you got to move on.
You do.
So you got to prepare for another game. And so in our Chalk Talk segment, the question is, do you have all the players in the team room, the game plan room, if you will, and do you break out an old chalkboard and say, okay, this is kind of what they do and what we got to do? Mm-hmm. Or do you take everybody out on the field and have a scout team run certain plays? How in the world do you game plan and prepare and get everybody tuned in to what the opponent's going to do?
Well, that's a really complex question. I'll look at it just from the offensive standpoint. Our kids, basically on Monday when they come in, expect to hear a certain piece of information from us based on our game planning over the weekend. And what we do as a coaching staff is we literally grade our opponent's video by player and by scheme. And so when we get done with the weekend, we know what their scheme is specifically to specific formations and what their player skill level and effort level is and technique level at each position. And so we try to match our best players against their worst players, either by the way we line up, by the way we move kids positionally, and then build our game plan from there within the basic schemes that we've taught our kids, whether it be an inside zone run play, outside zone. How are we best going to run that play this week, and how can we get our best offensive linemen on their worst defensive linemen? How can we get our best receivers on their worst defensive backs? And so basically when we walk in on Monday, we teach our kids the plan. Like, for example, 2 weeks ago when we played Norman, we knew that if we got in a certain formation, kids would line up in a certain position, and we'd be able to attack one of the weaker of their personnel and on the secondary and at the linebacker level by doing that. Had a lot of success offensively because we ran it that way. And that is a byproduct of grading the video. And so when we came in, we talked to the kids. We said, okay, the key kids this week for them are number whatever, number 44 and number 11 or whatever the numbers are, and here's how we're going to attack them within our scheme. And it's been very, very effective for us, especially with having young quarterbacks this year, in that we've narrowed the field down specifically to one or two people, which allows the things, when you're in the middle of a football game and you've got 11 people chasing the ball and trying to get after you as a quarterback, the less noisy we can make that by narrowing down, hey, you're going to look at these specific things in these specific circumstances, the much greater level of success the quarterback can have. And I think that's been a real priority this year with how much youth we've had at quarterback and inexperience. And Titan really grew tremendously doing that when he was playing at a high level when he got hurt. And Maddox, I believe, will have the same type of learning curve as well because he's such an intelligent player.
And in summary, it's all about preparation.
It is. It is. It's a lot of work gets done before you ever talk to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that explanation.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Chalk Talk segment for this week, and we'll have another Chalk Talk segment next week as well. Mm-hmm. So we need to take another time out to meet more members of the Plainsman football team, and then we'll come back to What Were You Thinking? So thanks for staying with us on Enid Plainsman Football.
I'm Titan Steven, class of 2020. I play quarterback and wide receiver.
Ronan Ford, 2019, D-line.
Arion Levy, class of 2019, linebacker.
Johnny View, 2021. I play running back and outside linebacker.
Taylor Fry, class of 2021, O-line, D-line.
My name is Chris Skidmore, class of 2020, and I'm a kicker. My name is Dylan Gaw. I play linebacker, and I'm class of 2020.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show with Steve and Steve. Coach Steve Hayes of the Enid Plainsmen is sporting a nice shirt from compliments of the men's department at Dillard's. And so we want to say thank you to our good friends of Enid Plainsmen football, Jeremiah, out there at the men's department at Dillard's, out at the mall, as Dillard's has provided the coaches' wardrobe this year during the Coaches Show. So thank you to the men's department at Dillard's for their support of Enid High School athletics. All right, we move into the segment of What Were You Thinking? And we'd like to remind you that you can send an email to asksteve@enid.org. That's asksteve@enid.org if you have a question in regard to what were you thinking. Coach, the triple option, you see it once in a great while, it seems like.
Yeah.
But when it's working, it can work.
It does.
And then when you have a big back, then speed. And I said earlier, as we started the show, when you have a quarterback who's very comfortable and can work that system, it's a pretty powerful offensive tool.
Yes.
So in regards to triple option, what were you thinking?
Well, in triple option, it's characterized by the fact that they will always leave two people unblocked and read what those two people do and send the two blockers to block different levels. And so you've got to assign somebody to take the fullback, which is the first running back through, somebody to take the quarterback, and then somebody to take the person that he pitches the ball to. And so one of three people can carry the football on a triple option play, and two of those people on defense will be unblocked. And based on their decision making, the quarterback will either give to the fullback, keep it, or pitch it to the pitch man. And so when you practice for that, you've got to have somebody, it's very disciplined type offense. You've got to have somebody that always takes the fullback, always takes the quarterback, and always takes the pitch. And we did a really good job, I thought, Friday night with the first two parts of that. We had a hard time with the third part of it, the pitch man, because of blocking angles, kind of our alignment, and really the depth that we were coming from. And really going into it, felt like we had a pretty good plan and good practice. In game time, we were not able to get there quick enough because of their team speed to take that third person. And that's what really makes that offense potent, because if you compress to take the inside stuff away, when they kick it out wide, you've got to be able to run and get to that wide guy. And throwing a ball is a lot faster than running it out there. It's a good offensive scheme. And I thought their quarterback did a really good job of decision-making and running the offense well. He did a really good job of pitching it to the perimeter when we took everything else away.
And that was kind of my observation, and I kept saying when you have a quarterback that can really work the system, that was my definition of the guy was really good. And
I agree.
Really could, run that system, very comfortable. And something to keep in mind, to hand off to the fullback or fake to the fullback and then pitch it, or the quarterback even keep it. I mean, we're talking seconds.
Yes.
We're not talking 5 to 10 seconds.
Yes.
It is boom, boom, boom in these
right.
decisions. So it's really quick.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Thank you for sharing that information, Coach, on what were you thinking. And again, you can send your question to asksteve@enid.org. Another timeout to meet the assistant coaches. And also we need to show the remaining district game schedule, which is Broken Arrow coming up. And we'll do that right now.
Coach Cameron Condor, coach quarterbacks, offensive coordinator, attended Grand Canyon University, Phoenix, Arizona. Best advice, be yourself. Don't worry what others are thinking about you.
My name is Coach Jake Hayes. I attend school at Evangel University in Springfield, Missouri. I coach wide receivers for the Enid Plainsmen. I teach PE at Hayes Elementary, and the best piece of advice I've ever received is anything worth doing is worth doing right.
I'm Coach Chad Miller. I graduated from Southwestern Oklahoma State University. I coach safeties for Enid High School. The best advice ever given to me was by my grandfather. He always told me if I wanted something in life, I would need to earn it through hard work.
Hello, my name is Wes McGill. I graduated from the University of South Dakota and North Dakota State University. I coach linebackers, and some of the best advice I've been given is proud men don't complain, they find solutions.
Again, welcome back to the Coach's Show with Steve and Steve. And again, this is our final opportunity to remind everybody that there is no purchase necessary. Go to On Deck at the mall and get the opportunity to have a Barry Sanders bobblehead doll. And also we have 2 tailback chairs with the Enid Plainsmen logo. Look very impressive, as you can see right there. We will draw for those really next week. So you got to get out there this week to On Deck at the mall. And again, no purchase necessary. There's a little entry slip there at the cash register area. Go in, see Gary Williams and Jeff Williams, say hi to them, and fill out your entry for the Barry Sanders bobblehead doll and also the 2 tailback chairs. We'll draw, so you got to do it this week. This week you got to do it. Okay, Coach Hayes, Broken Arrow, they clinched the district crown, if you will, due to their schedule and winning schedule. Played Edmond Memorial. I think it was 56-0 in that regard. So we've known all season long that Broken Arrow has a team.
They do.
So you have a short week.
Yep.
What's the preparation going to be like?
Well, late in the year, the short week doesn't have as big of an impact just because your teaching's been done. Now we just apply our scheme to what they do, and so practices will be pretty normal. Broken Arrow brings one of the most talented football teams I've seen since I've been in Oklahoma to the table. They are really, really good at every position, and really should be by far the favorite to win the state championship this year. And so we're going to have to give our best effort and play each play and try to win a play at a time. Which is really what you should do in any game. But I think when you play somebody as good as this, this next play and winning this next play becomes your goal. And hopefully you can win enough plays to put yourself in a position where you got a chance.
The Plainsmen close out the season as they travel on the road to Broken Arrow this Thursday night for a district ball game. We need to take this time out to show the airing times for the Coach's Show. We'll be right back with the final thought. Welcome back to the final segment of Enid Plainsmen Football, the Coach's Show with Coach Steve Hayes. Coach Broken Arrow, the time that I've seen them play, they have size.
They do.
They have some big old boys.
They do.
It's amazing the size of these kids, if you will. Offensively, what do they do? And then tell us defensively, how do they look?
First and foremost, offensively, they want to run the football. They're a power football team. Their running back is 79 yards away from breaking the state rushing record. And honestly, it really should be a record given to the O-line because the holes that they create from him are phenomenal. I've seen multiple examples on video where he'll run for a 50-yard touchdown and literally nobody touches him. And when that happens, that's really a touchdown for the offensive line. He doesn't break a tackle and just runs straight down the middle of the field. Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
We used to say that you make a hole a truck drive through.
Yes, yes.
That's a big hole.
Yeah, and so it's just a super offensive line, one of the best I've seen. And then defensively, they've just got a great scheme and kids play hard.
Okay.
Good team.
The preparation this week, short week, do you condense anything or you just, because you're in shape, I mean, you've been playing all year.
Yeah.
It's just fine-tuning the game plan, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be much more team time, less individual teaching time, less skilled teaching time, and more just preparation specifically for Broken Arrow. Won't have nearly as much contact in practice this week, and more like three-quarter speed walkthrough type practices as we prepare. And at this point in time, our improvement on blocking and tackling is reached close to its potential for the season, and so we'll spend the next 3 days getting ready for Broken Arrow.
Well, Coach, it's good to see you. Thank you for your
too.
time. Appreciate it very much, and thank you for joining us for the Coach's Show with Coach Steve Hayes. And again, the Plainsmen journey off to Broken Arrow this Thursday for the final district game. For Coach Steve Hayes, I'm Steve Kime. Thanks for joining us for the Coach's Show.
Thank you for watching Enid Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.
Election Day is just around the corner. Matter of fact, it's Tuesday, November 6th. This election is our chance to have our voices heard. The vote we cast is important for our state, for our community, and by voting we can weigh in on the issues that matter most to all of us. That's why it is so critical to go cast a vote. So, on this election day, November 6th, take a moment and go vote. Thank you.